Welcome to Next Generation Academy. My name is Irene Young, and today we'll be looking at computer programming. So, this tutorial is for beginners and for computer novice, and also for those who want to transition their careers into IT. So, this course is divided into two, the theory and the practicals. For the theory, we'll do just about 20 to 30% of theory for basic knowledge on computer programming, and for the rest of the about 70 percentage of the course, we will be seeing all the things in the practical lessons. I think when you learn by doing, you learn better, if I'm right. So, guys, straight into the course, talking about what is a computer program. There are two terms: computer programming and computer program. I know, first of all, a lot of people think programming is difficult. Guys, programming is not difficult. Programming is logic. If you are good in logic, then definitely you will be good in programming. If you are good in logic, if you are good in solving problems, if you have a good way of approaching problems, for sure, programming is for you. But if you don't still have a good way of approaching you can always learn, right? You can always learn. So in this tutorial, we'll be seeing everything from the base. Yeah, we're starting from the base because I consider that everybody watching this course is a beginner in C programming or in computer programming. So it is from the base, like from the very base, from 00. It's from 00 level, and for sure I will walk you through the entire course. So all you need to do is to stay along and follow me. And if you have any kind of questions, then you can kindly reach to me. So, talking about what is a computer program, in the simplest form of definition, you can say a computer program is a set of instructions that the computer uses to execute some particular task or to perform some particular task. This is a simple definition of a computer program. A set of instructions that the computer uses to perform a particular task. So, guys, before we continue, I want you to know that programming is like any other language. Programming is like computer programming is like any other language. I think English has its own syntax, its rules, the things you must follow, and all of that thing. It is the same thing with computer programming. Computer programming has its own syntax and the rules that you must follow for it to work. If you don't follow those rules, you can never get it right. So why are you learning computer programming? You're learning programming to master. First of all, you have to master the syntax. You have to master the syntax and how the things work. Yeah. So with that said, I said a computer program is a set of instructions that perform that help the computer to perform a particular task. And what is programming? You can say programming is the process of writing a computer program, right? So you already know what is a computer program. So we are going to be looking at the very basic programming language. When I say very basic programming language, it is not like it is easy programming language. I am saying in terms of the programming language that is recommended for beginners. This programming language is recommended for beginners, and this programming language is the C language. With this C programming language, we recommend that every beginner start from here, because if you master the C language, it will be easy for you to master any other kind of programming language like C++, Java, C Sharp, Python, JavaScript, all of those things, they follow, they almost follow the syntax of the C programming language. So this is why even in colleges, C programming is recommended. So what is then C programming language? It says C is a mid-level structured oriented programming language. Mid-level structure. So uh, in many books, in many textbooks, different textbooks, some textbooks say C is a mid-level language. Some people say C is a high-level language. So first of all, we need to understand what is a mid-level language, what is a high-level language. So high-level language simply means the language in which the human being can understand. This is it. High-level language is the language in which the human being can understand, just like the English language. And just for the record, the computer does not understand English. The computer has its own language known as what? The binary language, right? Yes, computer works in binary. So anything you program in is converted into computer language, and what C uses to convert it to computer language is what? A compiler. So we are going to come to that later on in the course. So understanding what is a high-level language, once more I repeat, high-level language is simply the language that a human being can understand. Is the human readable language. For example, English. Computer programmers program in English, and the computer converts it to its own language called binary language. So some people say C is a mid-level language, and some others say C is a high-level language, right? So mid-level language, because some argue that C also acts like a low-level language because of the compiler, or because it almost understands the computer language. But in general, we consider that C is a high-level language because it is human readable. With that said, um, C is a mid-level structured oriented programming language used in general purpose programming. And guys, C was developed by Dennis Ritchie at AT&T Labs in the US. So we use C to develop or to do many things. We use C for studies, for learning, for system development, operating system, drivers, networking drivers, and so on. So this is why C is recommended, because it is really easy to learn, to understand the syntax, and if you master the syntax of the C programming language, you will easily master the rest of other programming languages. So we always recommend that a starting point of programming should be C, and you don't have to give up if you want to learn programming. When something is not working, you have to find out why it is not working. So going to the next thing, we talk about some facts about the C language. Now, the C language was formalized in the 1988 at the ANSI. ANSI is the American National Standard Institute for. This is a non-profit organization that is found in the US. If you want to know more about the ANSI, then you can read that up in the Google. So C was invented to write the Unix operating system. You know what Unix operating system is? Another kind of operating system, and it is a non-Windows operating system. I know a lot of people are used to with Windows operating system, but Unix is another kind of operating system. We'll be looking at that later in the course. And C is a successor of the Basic Combined Programming Language. So it means that C was written as a replacement of another programming language called as Basic Combined Programming Language, called the B language. So before the C language, there was a B language. And you also know that operating systems like Linux operating system, uh, software or frameworks like PHP, or software, let me say, programming language like PHP, database like MySQL are all written in C. If you don't know what is PHP, MySQL, don't worry. We have other tutorials on this. And C has been written in assembly language, guys. Okay, so these are some of the facts about C language. Uh, Moving on, we'll be looking at why C is so popular. Why is it so? So the first reason is because it is one of the early programming languages. You know, C is C was one of the early programming language where people could easily write computer programs. It's not like before C there were no other languages. There were other languages just like we saw the B language, but C was so popular because of its simplicity, the human readable programming syntaxes, and so on. So that is why C is still so popular, despite the fact that there are so many other programming languages today. So C language is reliable, simple, and easy to learn and easy to use. I will just explain that. And still, the modern programming concepts are based on the C, like the Java, the C Sharp, and all that thing. They are still the most of their concepts still rely back on C. So with that done, looking at the features of C. So we have to, the first thing is C is a robust language with a rich set of built-in functions and operators. So there are a lot of functions in which are provided in the C language where programmers can easily write their code. What is a function is, if you don't know what a function is, don't worry guys, we'll be looking at functions in this course. So the second thing is that C programming programs written in C are efficient and fast. Why are the programs efficient and fast? Because C uses a compiler, and the compilers are very fast. Why? Because they compile the whole code at once. Though there is something compiler and the interpreter, these are two different things. Interpreted programs are slower than compiled programs. The reason is that uh, compilers compile the code at once while interpreters interpret one line of a code at a time. So guys, that is the reason. That is why we say programs written in C are efficient and faster. So C is highly portable, means programs once written in C can be run on any machine with minor or no modifications. If you write a C program in Windows, you can easily run it in Mac, Linux, and so on, guys. So with that done, talking about the advantages of C. So the first thing is that C is a building block for many other programming languages. Just like I've explained, C is a building block for, like, a lot of modern programming languages still have the concept of C programming, like the Java, like I mentioned, the C Sharp, and so many other programming languages. So programs written in C are highly portable. We have already explained this. Several standard functions are there, like the built-in functions uh, that can be used to develop C programs. There are a lot of functions in C, as I said. We'll be looking at the functions later in the course. So C programs are a collection of C libraries, function, and don't worry about what is library functions. These things we'll be doing it in the practical. I'll explain them in the practical, so with use cases, so that you easily understand. So guys, there are a lot of advantages of the C programming language. If you want to learn more about that, you can just look it up in the internet. There you get more details. So C also has its own limitations, and that is why other programming languages have been developed. to overcome this limitation, the first and the most important thing is that C language provides no data protection. Like there is no data security in C language. And it also doesn't feature the reusability of source code because it is not an object-oriented programming. C is a structured C is a structured programming, and the feature of source code reusability is only available in the object-oriented programming. And the next thing is that it does not provide strict data type checking. We are going to see what is a data type in the course as we move on. So it is difficult to debug a code, like it's really difficult to get errors in a C programming code. So with that said and done, we move on to now what is a compiler. So the simplest definition is that a C compiler is a software application that transforms human readable C program code into machine readable code. As simple as this, with the help of the C programming language, or sorry, with the help of the compiler, uh, when the programmer writes his code in English, the compiler helps to convert it into machine readable code, and the machine readable code convert it into binary. So when we are talking about the machine readable language, we're simply referring to the binary language. So this is the work of the compiler. It helps to convert the high-level language into machine language, and the compiler is faster than the interpreter. Why? Because it executes all the lines of code at once, whereas the interpreter executes one line of code at a time. Okay, with this said, this is all for this tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. In the next tutorial, we'll be looking at how to install the C or how to install a C compiler in our system, and straight away we will start writing our code.